This is a new live stream on ancient history. I'm going to quickly share my desktop. But before I do, I want to double check the stream. And I will be clipping this first part off the video as I have been because it seems like the best way to do things. I'm just going to check not my history. Don't look at my history. We don't want to see that. Let's try that again. My videos. And then, okay, maybe I got a little bit tipsy. My advice on using chopsticks. Okay, there we are. Where's my... Oh, there it is, right there. Okay, go back there. Why does it show up fourth? Why is it live now here? Let's see if we have sound. Why does it show up fourth? There we go. So we got a couple of photos I want to go over. And when I saw this picture in the news the other day and thought about China's southern what is it called, the southeast China Sea, South China Sea being dominated by China, I was reminded of a picture that I found of the, let me just close that, of the Easter Island. Now in Easter Island, don't forget, Easter Island has also this polygonal, I say polygonal because the pronunciation should change. A lot of people say polygonal. It doesn't really matter, but we do have this, and there's an example of the base, and it was a three-letter word like Anu or something that they called this base that was of these megalithic stones on Easter Island that were holding these sculptures. And these stones apparently were not made of the volcanic material that, like, they were brought to the island or something. And I could be wrong. And it brought up a couple of other things that I wanted to talk about. The thing I guess I should mention is that Easter Island does have a certain ring that it's formed, and I don't know if this is going to be very clear when I zoom in, but it doesn't really matter to me. Why does that have to happen? It's Windows. Thank you, Windows. You can see here this Easter Island down in the bottom right, and this ring does occur, but there's so many other megalithic sites on Earth that it seems convenient to make a ring. And if you move it over, this circle does create the same size as the equator, which would mean that the North Pole would be right in the center. Is that what that is right here in the center? I didn't put that dot there. So that would be the North Pole shifting. And do I believe that's possible? Of course, but there's so many other megalithic sites. I'm going to kind of go down if the ones that are underwater now, the one that I've been looking at. This is a screen grab from Bright Insight, and it's not the first time I've heard of Yonaguni, but this is some type of an underwater anomaly that's very close to my location, Taiwan. It's closer to Taiwan, but it's on an island that belongs to Japan. When I say on, I mean just off. And, I look over here at the right and I see these straight lines over here. That looks nice too. I wish I saw more of that. But we've got a lot of different man-made looking structures underwater. Now, I'm not going to try to go to each picture. I grabbed this. I wanted to show you my source, but as you can see, this is a little bit bigger. You can see something called the Arch Gate. It looks like there's a little tunnel. Graham Hancock visited, and I didn't see him put this in his pictures. They've got a certain thing called the Loop Road, what looks like stairs, something called the Turtles, something called the Triangular Pool, the Upper Terrace, the Main Terrace, and what Graham Hancock showed were some even more interesting actual photos of this, but I'm not going to dig those up right now. The other one that I think everybody should know about is the Baltic Sea anomaly, and here's a sonar image of it. I think this is pretty important because I think this is like the truth be told. And I know that this doesn't show much because you can't really see the stairs that are shown in other images of this. Let me find another image I have of it. Where did that go? Is it over here? This is an image. All right. How do I want to open this file? I don't know. What's the deal here? I want to open it up in a photo. I hate this. I don't want about. Oh, it's a web.p. Well, let me try Google Chrome. So this shows something that's a little bit more interesting. I think if you zoom it in here, what you do see here is this track. Like some people, I just saw an article that said that this was a UFO that landed and it slid about 100 meters or so into place. If that's true, then this would only be about 30 meters. Now if it's 100 feet, this would only be about 30 feet, but let's just say these steps are 1 or 2 feet each. This, to me, I don't know where this picture came from. I don't know much about it, but to me this looks pretty real. I mean, you can see a lot more definition here. I always thought this looked like a man or a spaceman, but we've got steps, we've got straight lines. This thing looks like it's dissecting the whole disc. We've got an elliptic here. That's supposed to be up in the Baltic Sea, but we don't really see much about that. No, that's nicer, right? So, yeah, of course, these would have had to have been pre-Atlantic civilizations. I mean, if you look at the information about when, and I've got it, I showed you, oh yeah, here's one more picture of that. I'll show it first, because this actually shows more. The Baltic Sea anomaly, I'll make it bigger, is a circular object found in the Baltic Sea, and if you don't know where that is, it's between Finland and Sweden. It's up there near where there's a real short passageway. It says here it's 60 meters wide. It shows what they're calling the pearl necklace, stones in ring formations. Some stairs on both sides. I didn't know about that one. This one, it looks like it's more of a complete circle than this. So I don't know how old this drawing is. It says it was found and discovered in 2011. It says it's 8 meters high. It says it's 75 meters deep underwater. 75 meters. And it's 4 meters thick. So this is a pretty clean drawing. Now I'm not going to make any assumptions or assertions about this. The last underwater sea anomaly that I know about is this one, and it's a little bit less credible as far as I'm concerned, because somebody could have created this video digitally, and it says pyramid 8,000 meters quadrano, so 8,000 meters squares base encountered in the Terceria a San Miguel. Well, that is over in the islands that are in the center of the Atlantic Ocean. I'm looking for the picture so I can give it to you. I don't want to scroll through the pictures in a bad order, and so I'm actually searching for the picture with my eyeballs here, and then I'm going to pull it out. There it is. And the location of that is right out here. And of course, this is a map of the Atlantic Ocean during the Ice Age, when they were 300 to 400 feet lower. So when you say 75 meters, well, if 75 meters is about 3 feet each, so it's 75 times 3. So that's 150 plus 75, which is 225. So it's supposed to be only 200 feet lower. So it seems like, and that's up in the Baltic Sea. So we've got a difference. Now, I always believed that this was kind of the one that we're looking at here, and we go out and it's right about here. and these are that's like the Atlantis or Atlantic. It used to be called Atlantis, but plateau, and there's one called the Plato underwater plateau. It's a platform. Some people think it was Atlantis. I personally think this is still a little bit too small to contain the southern plain that this was described by Plato, that was supposed to be so large. Now, this also shows a sea shelf here, which isn't shown in the Ali Bai video that I showed the screenshot from a moment ago. I'm not going to get into the video. There was one more picture from that underwater sea anomaly, so it's an image, it's a man-made image, and I'd like to see more information on that. Where was that? Scanning. Is that it? I think that's it. I mean, it's very beautiful. And it seems to imply that it's northern. And the question about where north was, I mean, north, we've got two norths that we have to think about, don't we? And the first north is actually the one that we all know as the North Star. That is the one right here. It actually changes every couple thousand years. And so every 2,000 years it changes to a new position. And right now we have the tip of the Little Dipper. And that's our north celestial pole. Or it's not the plane, it's the pole. But to be honest, the north equatorial pole is here. So the Earth is at a 35, I forgot. Now I had it on the tip of my tongue, right? It's 23.5 degree axis, and so we are actually pointing towards the North Star here. But if we were to look at the true equatorial plane and go straight up, the zenith would be here, kind of in the middle of Draco. And some people have implied this is because it changes it turns every great year, every 25,900 or 25,772 years. I mean, I still haven't been able to use any online tool to prove the actual number, so they don't really give you a good number from Stellarium. So I don't trust Stellarium too much. But when we zoom into this, we can see that it's definitely different. And it changes over the years. I mean, I'm not really into the stars. I'm still trying to figure certain things out. Okay, let's go on to the next topic. Everybody knows that I was looking at a video called the Songhai Empire. And I didn't realize I'm going to try to learn more about this empire, because it was really close to the eye. The eye, which is over here, is located just north of this whole river inlet. And yes, according to science, there was a river. And I'm going to give you a picture that I haven't shown before right here of the river Tamanrasset. I always misspell it. I add 2 R's and take away 1 S. But this is the location of that river, and the width. This is what I was surprised about, was the actual width that they're showing here. Not sure if it was really so wide. You know, you don't see the Nile that wide, but what you do see is that this was quite wide. Now you can see the continental plates, or the cliffs, or the offshore sea cliffs, I guess. What is it? Plates. You can't really see where that river was because, you know, it was so long ago, at least 12,000 years ago. I believe that it actually there. If you look at the eye of the Sahara, yeah, this is wrong. This is wrong. I don't believe this. I don't believe this at all. I believe it was this way. So I don't know who drew this and where they got their data from. Maybe I should look into it one more time. But I believe that it came right along the edge here, or something happened. Maybe it was during the flooding that this happened. But you'd have to believe there were many canals. If the Atlantis was as developed as it was, there were many canals. And you do see residual canals here. You don't really see any type of... I mean, this is the Atlas Mountains up here. I don't think that I've seen any river crossing through here. You can see the rivers going through here, though. Of course, it's all covered with sand as well. This doesn't look like it's been covered as much. I believe it's a higher altitude, but I haven't been able to demonstrate that through my topographical research that I've done of this area. Now, there are a couple other pictures that I have shown in the past. This one, I don't know if we're going to... maybe we should go side by side with these, because this one kind of shows it, and I guess that they're copying this. To gauge where exactly the Eye of the Sahara is, but it's copying it exactly here. I guess I have to rethink. I mean, this is science. This is real. So I personally, maybe the Eye of the Sahara, which is, take this line here and follow it straight out, which is right about here. I believe that there was a major lake and river going through here, but maybe that was all post flood. There was definitely flooding going through here. That's for sure. That's proven. Now, I do have another picture that was recently introduced. We can see it right here. But unfortunately, it doesn't really show the coastline. And I really don't have a reference point here. I have to... But you can see this line coming through here. That's the actual... Well, it says here, radar images of the Mauritanian desert have revealed. Well, if it's Mauritania, I mean, we saw pictures that were going through the Saharan country called... Sorry, I have a problem. All right. This video, I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for myself, trying to get my ducks in a row. I've shown you this before. The original belief was this was the world according to Herodotus, and it was in a circle, of course. But I think the new belief kind of focuses on a separation now that we know more about the Taman Reset and the river that separated these two continents. And they called them continents and because we believe that the concentric circles were Plato's concentric circles of Atlantis. Then anything south of the Taman Reset would have been more of like a jungle area. Now, I don't believe that the Sahara Desert was a desert at all at that time due to the water erosion on the Sphinx and other things that I've seen researched. A guy did a paper showing that perhaps, and by the way, he showed it above the Taman Reset, but he showed it in South Morocco or Western Sahara, which I was trying to think of the name. Of course, Western Sahara belongs to Morocco, and there's not a lot of things going on there. Okay, I was going to show this to you later, but it's here now. You can see that, and this I got this from Graham Hancock, but we also have seen a lot of other stuff going on in Ohio, and I'll show you some pictures of that in a second. I got to close it down. I didn't want to change the subject just yet. Before I change the subject, I'll move that over here. So we're done with that. I didn't show you these. I'll show them to you now, but I'm not going to get back into it. Just some different things. There it shows the track. I wanted to move off that topic. That's the sonar image. So you've got a couple of things showing that Baltic Sea anomaly. But we're done with that. I'm going to move that over here. Of course, people say, hey, the pyramids had to have been built by the Egyptians because we didn't have any type of technology at that time. Well, now we know that with the whole... now I'm not going to remember what this is called. It's... why can't I remember it? I always forget it. Here, nope, that's not it. I opened the wrong thing. Sorry, I want to save that for later. Let's put this stuff on top. Oops, I didn't want to do that. That was a mistake. All right, that's okay. Put that over here. I talked about that already. Move that here. I have to get back on track. So, yeah, I talked about Easter Island. You know what I didn't finish about the Easter Island thing? And I think it's really important, so I do want to go back. Because this whole first thing, this first picture made me think of something that I screen grabbed right here. You see this thing? This is Easter Island. And I was talking about the polygonal thing there, but see, I'm doing this unscripted, and I'm doing it for myself. But if you look at this is actually goes under. It's a tunnel. I'm going to show you another picture here that I screen grabbed from somebody on Google who took and stood there. Look at that. That goes right in there. And you can't see it except for this guy, whoever this person is. I assume it's a guy, G. Hine. He stood out here and he took this picture. It's 360 degrees. But as you can see, this goes right in there. That tunnel. That's Easter Island. Now it looks like it's stopping. It looks like there's a little bit of a shore right there. But it also looks quite wet. So maybe it's full of rocks after all these years. But that looks like it's a man-made entrance to some type of a tunnel that's going to Easter Island. And that's why I talked about Easter Island being on this ring of megalithic structures that are so old. All right. So I'm done with that. Where can I put the stuff I'm done with? I'm putting it here. I should have been moving this the whole time, right? Okay. Yeah, I changed the subject and now I'm going back. I'm sorry about the disorganization of this video. The one thing I want to say about the Eye of the Sahara is that we do have, I wouldn't call it a string of pearls, but we do have lines of hits, strikes. This is a really good one because it shows and by the way, I personally believe, and I think I've demonstrated, number 5 doesn't count. If it is a strike from a meteor or an asteroid or whatever, it isn't really a crater unless it was changed by the water. Now, I believe that the Eye of the Sahara should look like this. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, check my old videos. But unfortunately, we all know what it really looks like. And you can go to Randall Carlson's discussion on the Richat Dome formation. He calls it an anomaly. He says here, displacement of ring dike by fault. But it's 2 kilometers wide. I don't know a fault line that's 2 kilometers long. I know what fault lines look like, so I don't really know what he's talking about, and I've tended to disagree with him on that. There's some other pictures of it. I mean, look at it here. This is from... this is a great photo because you can see the ring of what I believe is the actual crater. And I mentioned that there should be a mountain. If this is dome geology, then this should be a mountain. There's a better shot. Let me get that one. Is that it? Oh, this one. This is the big shot of it all. Wow, it takes a long time, doesn't it? You can see the rings. This is the center ring. This is the second ring. This is like the centered island, but I think maybe water could have entered. And then you have a third ring out here. And you can see that this is not just an anomaly. I mean, you've got a ring of mountains that have totally disappeared. Now, here's a good question. I mean, is this north? Not exactly. I think that's north. And I think that's east. And because of that, you have exactly on the north side this entry point. Now, it's all dry now, but if this were water, you would have an entry point on the north side. You'd have an entry point on the east side, possibly the west side, and who knows what was happening here on the south. You've got some couple of triangles over here, or here, I'm not sure, and you can go in and see other videos that show that. But when you look at this ring here, and you see this perfect circle, I say that's a crater that got filled with mud and sediment from the flooding. So when you say what destroyed Atlantis, well, you've got a perfect line going through here. You've got what looks like a line going this way. All right. Now I think I'm ready to move on to another topic. So moving this over here, I might have a couple more images of that. Tamaset River. Ancient civilization in the United States. Check out Robert Siffer's video. He mentions, and I was mentioning the North Star. Well, according to one suggestion, the swastika, which has been around and around the world, not just around for years and years, not just from Nazi Germany. I mean, this is in Michigan. And you've got Korea, and we see it here in Taiwan all the time. And I've seen other pictures of the swastika presented alongside the Star of David. So when we think about, and this one right here, this kind of angled one, that's kind of reminiscent of the picture that I saw of basically the Great Year and the 4 quarters positioning of the Big Dipper or the Great Bear. And it totally looks like a swastika. So it's a good point that maybe this is an interesting one. You've got the 4 quarters of the Great Year, and the positioning of the Big Dipper creates a swastika. So we're talking about ancient constellations, formations. Okay, I think I'm almost done. I'm looking at a few more things. As I mentioned, the head of the Sphinx, in my opinion, was replaced. I'm not going to show a picture here because I didn't prepare it, but the head was reconstructed. It's the man in that picture is definitely, oh, that's like a statue because you can see a man in front of it. There's a man, yeah, and a man can stand near the ear, but he can't even reach the ear. There's a step. And the Sphinx is definitely has an undersized head. I think that it was a lion before, and it was facing the constellation of Leo. And I've shown that it was facing the constellation of Leo 8,000 to 10,000 years ago. And again, about 36,000 years ago. So if you think that the erosion features on the body of the Sphinx are 10,000 years old, then you have to say that the Sahara had to have not been a desert at that point, because there definitely couldn't have been enough rain to do that in the last 4,000 years. And that's what Robert Schoch and is it George Shaw or Robert Shaw? I can't remember. I think it's Robert Shaw. This is the thumbnail of Robert Schoch that I put in my other video. All right, and once we discovered that, oh my gosh, why can't I remember the name of this place, which is here? Whoops. And by the way, did you know if you take B, C, and D stones, what is this called? Now I really hate it when I forget stuff. One more thing, don't call, okay, because I'm going to go back, don't call the strikes, I wouldn't say they're a perfect line. It seems to try to create a perfect line. I don't believe that it's a pearl of strings, string of pearls. A string of pearls has a very specific look, and several, that's not the moon, I think that's something else. But Jupiter has this, but we can't see it because it's such a gaseous planet. You can still see some of the spots, I believe, but this is a real string of pearls event right here. So this is, if you want to know, go to this video I got it from, which is Geocosmic Rex at Randall Carlson's channel that's quite active right now. He's got 2 channels. This is the active one. You can go to this video that was uploaded on April 19th, 2017 and find this, and he mentions it. This is a real string of pearls event. I wouldn't call what you saw happening in Africa a string of pearls event. But I do believe that this is definitely a circle. Now I'll mention one more thing about the Baltic Sea. Oh no, that's a video. Can't do that. Oh yeah, here it is. Where's that picture? I lost it already. Alright, well, I guess I moved it and it's under here. I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, so Gobekli Tepe. These pillars are actually and it's not the pillars themselves, it's the point between the pillars. So if you lay a board from here to here and you go to the center point, that point actually creates an isosceles triangle. Gobekli Tepe. So if you take and let me try it. Let's see what I can do with this. First, let me make it bigger. Make it a lot bigger. And this is the vulture stone 43. This is the one I want to talk about later. But the major stones in the center, those stones are the ones that I'm just going to put this in here, and I want to now take this. I guess I have to make a line and go to here. Oh, see, I messed up already. Let me do that one more time. I'm not really able to make straight lines with this software. Let me try it again. I gotta go to the center point here, and I gotta go straight over there, straight over here, and then straight over here. It's not very good. And you get a perfect isosceles triangle. So you do have geometry involved, and this has been proven to be about 10,000 BC or maybe 9,000 BC, just after the Ice Age. It's been proven. Now it was found buried, and it was under a mound that could have other stuff below it, but we haven't seen the other stuff below it yet. So what we do know is that Gobekli Tepe is actually following some type of a perfect triangle, and if there were rooftops, maybe something was going on up above it that was creating this triangle. So it's interesting here. Now when we talk about the vulture stone, I can get more into constellations. I don't have a picture of it that's very clear right here. It's actually kind of small. The vulture stone is here, but as you can see, this is Scorpio, and that vulture was found to be statistically Sagittarius, the what do you call it? Now, I'm not looking at the east. I don't feel like I'm looking at the east when I see this, but apparently the sun was supposed to have been located here in Sagittarius, as you can go straight down the ecliptic line in the sky. You do have the headless guy here. He's at the bottom. It's kind of hard to see. Where's the headless guy? You have the man bags up here. And what I was led to understand was that this was 1/4 of the great year, and these 3 bags were supposed to create the other 3/4. So are these images actually constellations in the sky? I saw a great video that was talking about this a while ago, but it's been so long, and I'm sure I have some screen grabs, but I have to be honest, I have a hard time finding those. There's the headless guy. It's a headless guy. He's got a heart on, an erection, and he has no head. And I think it represents man and death. And this represents the constellation Scorpio. And then we have here what, according to this, the culture called it the vulture constellation, but now we know it as Sagittarius. Now I could be off a little bit about my memory, and there was these other constellations here, and I guess what I need to do is find that video and talk about it one more time. I think I actually did talk about this in one of my videos, and I showed my screen grabs. But that's the sun. Now I heard another video recently about all sorts of other stuff, talking about sky burials and cutting up bodies, and they have the head off that guy, and they're talking about sky burials. But I kind of really liked what I saw in this video with the guy who is going into the details about why he believed, and it was very convincing. And I don't think he got into the man bags, but other people have told me the man bags represent, especially when you see people holding the bags in the tree of life, them taking pollen and, of course, adding seeds to this, or pollen to the tree of life, and creating life from it. I'm not that good, so I don't really want to know. I do want to know. I don't really know. I don't claim to know. But the guy that did the video that I'm referring to, he was saying that each man bag, I call them man bags because of Graham Hancock. However, it was a bag of pollen, and he was actually fertilizing or adding fertilizer to the tree of life in the Sumerian cultures, or the cultures later on that were showing this. But this is 9,000 years old, so it's older than Sumerian culture, according to mainstream history. Now, I don't know what else I can talk about. I'm going to take a quick look. There's probably something I forgot. There's another picture of the swastikas in the USA. I showed you that picture of the swastikas around the world. But did you know that pre-World War II, the Native Americans, they made an agreement to remove the swastikas from their culture to maintain mainstream understanding of the threat of Germans in World War II, specifically in Arizona. And there was a picture I had that I don't have convenient where you can see the Indians signing the agreement to remove that. Alright, this video, again, I just wanted to get some stuff that I've been thinking about and collecting out there. I'm not... Okay, let me just resort everything. Sort by date modified. Let's do that. And we can kind of... Oh, yeah, these. And I forgot to talk about them. So, we've got here and this is all from Randall, Carlson, these octagons. What these are earth mounds and, of course, henges. This is a circular henge that existed in the United States that's actually like 1,000 years old. This is Newark. I think I can go to the next one this way. Let's try. Is that it? Nope. Let me try the other way. I think I'm seeing the same one over and over again. So let me go back. Here's another one I wanted to show you. Circleville in Ohio. And these mounds existed, and they did the same thing that Stonehenge did, where they helped align equinoxes and solstices and other celestial events to the horizons around them. And if you look at some of these measurements, are very similar to the measurements of the Great Pyramid, 10,056 feet. I could be wrong about that, and they're all a little different, so I'm not going to bet my life on any of that. But you can see here, and let's just zoom in, that this was a moat, but on both sides of it was like a double ring. And then you had this mound separating a pathway that led, and you had mounds. You had these mounds inside the octagon that you could stand on and observe celestial astronomical events, astrological events. That's all, well, I think that's the same at this point, right? All right, let me see if there's anything else I missed. I'm just going to look at these very closely here. We talked about a lot of different stuff. I had some duplicates. This is something I didn't show you. It's the famous Jupiter String of Pearls event. The Shoemaker-Levy comet, just like Comet Ison, which is on my channel, covered it quite closely when it happened in 2013. It went around the sun and then it broke apart into pieces. Well, this one broke apart and turned into what they call the String of Pearls, which actually struck Jupiter 20-something about 20 of them, struck Jupiter and created that string of pearls event. And we can't really see, we still see some of the scars on Jupiter, but you can't see that line like I showed you. But they do have other incidents where that line is shown. And if I'm lucky, it's right here. There. See? I found it already. So this is not Jupiter, but you can see a string of pearl event did happen here. This is like fractures of a comet. So yeah, is it possible that some other thing broke apart and struck Mauritania? And I showed you that picture. This isn't very convincing. I kind of don't want to choose that one again. I'm finding the other one. I'll just choose it since it's in my face. But I don't see the other one anymore. I had a picture of it before, those 5 strikes. I don't really think the line is that perfect. It's kind of an exaggeration. It's a little bit off. But hey, even a string of pearls is not perfect. So when you look at the string of pearls, you're not going to find such a perfect line. You're going to see a series of strikes in a row. Now this could have happened all at the same time, but I don't believe that the center of the richat was, but I do think that 100%, and I would bet money that that is a crater right in the middle of the richat. So when Plato described Atlantis undergoing a series of cataclysmic events that put it under the water, I believe that's the cataclysmic event that took out the center of the circles in a rock. Okay, that's going to be it. My friend keeps talking to me. So, last but not... Oh, what was that? That was more Baltic Sea. This is that one video that I showed before. I'll just kind of finish it off talking about this. You don't really see the part of Africa, but you can see the ancient lakes in Africa. And you can see the sea levels. Because I don't know what happened to that picture, but you can see the sea levels here. You can see that Baltic Sea, it would be here. That's the location of the Baltic Sea anomaly. It's not showing what you see here. So it's questionable. What that is saying is that, okay, 33,000 years ago, Dodgerland, and the anomaly that's here is a little different. So I didn't get any information about this for this video, but that is another underwater sea anomaly that is called the Dogger. I don't think it's Doggerland. It's Dodgerland, and that was located right here. This one is the Baltic Sea anomaly here. The other one is over by Taiwan, which is not here. But you can see that sea levels were lower. So England, the UK, the Isle, and of course the Irish Isle is one big landmass connected to Europe. And down here, where Sumer started, it also was still filled in. So the Euphrates River and the Tigris River, they couldn't have just emptied out here. They had to keep going. So anything that you see here, you see this bite, well, that's because it's water now. So they have no way of having any data from that area unless they use diving. I'm just going to let you watch this again to fill in the video. I'm going to shrink it a little bit, society and culture. We're not going to watch the whole thing. Let me just shrink it a little bit. Now what you saw at 20,000 and 18,000, you saw those land sea levels go down, and the sea levels rise and the land go under the water. You see that here, you see it here, and I did fail to mention what you saw here in Greece. So let's go back just a little bit. I've been referencing this a lot. So you can see here, Greece was full here, and as we reach 20,000, 18,000, I'm just going to count it down so you can reference it yourself. 26, 25, 4, 23, 22, 20, 20. 20 is now. Greece is open. And there's 3 series up there by England. So up there you saw 3 series. Now this is year 12,000. In 2 more thousand years, we're going to have Gobekli Tepe created right about here. So Sumer did exist, but Gobekli Tepe existed, and possibly some ancient civilizations other than Atlantis existed, since, according to Plato, Atlantis was fighting with Athens. I'll just let it go a little farther. Have a nice evening. This video is over.